Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. The presidency of Donald Trump has raised some concerns about the role of the US in NATO and, more broadly, the level of military support the US will provide to Europe. These concerns have since been allayed by the president and, more recently, by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. However, the approach to defence by the EU and other NATO countries has been shaken up. To lay out the current military posture of NATO and Europe, we're joined by Colonel Vaidotas Malinionis, retired, founder and managing director, National Defence Foundation. Colonel, welcome back to TVP World. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for the privilege.
It's a pleasure, sir. So let's start with the relationship between President Trump's presidency and the administration and Europe. We've heard many kind of somewhat confusing statements coming from the American side. How do you see the situation as it currently stands?
Yes, although in European leaders, they probably, of course, they don't like current pressure by the United States. And of course, we can argue that a lot of steps are probably unfair. But nevertheless, I think this push for Europe by the States is very right. Because we really think we really have a big lack of urgency. Although we are talking about strategic clarity, and we already started to allocate and plan resources. Yes, but nevertheless, it is still conference and PowerPoint culture, because war is happening right now, and we need kind of strategic velocity, not clarity. Clarity is, yes, it's needed, but we need velocity. And taking into consideration that Putin already increasing his manpower by 160,000 this year, and he keeps more than 500,000 troops in Ukraine, and we are in Europe still planning, decades in the future for the future. Talking about, for example, yes, Europe decided to deliver by the end of 2025 2 million shells to Ukraine, but Ukraine needs shells monthly. They need 20,000 shells of ammunition tomorrow. Yes, so this is the problem, because we are still talking about future, and we are at war right now. So we should act now. The same also, I think we should worry about how our European Commission understands priorities. Yes, for example, Kaja Kallas is talking about cyber defense, air defense, and other defensive capabilities, those are like priorities. But I didn't hear any kind of priority about long or medium-range striking capability, development of that capability. Yes, rocket systems, striking systems, which is because only defensive capability is just one side of the deterrence. We need to develop also priority for the striking capability. So also, and I think in order, to multiply our effort, we should invite Ukraine to be on our table, to listen their advice, also to listen probably for military advice, because any commander, any general, which Kaja Kallas have, they will advise that we need to plan also striking capability. So this is a little bit disappointing, and my conclusion is Europe is still on PowerPoint and conference mode instead of, war preparation mode or war fighting mode, because war is happening right now.
Understood. Thank you for laying that out, Colonel. Now, President Trump in his first term asked Europe to raise their defence budgets and so on, and clearly Europe hadn't done so until now, when the threat loomed over them that the US was not, the backstop that Europe had always assumed, unless Europe took responsibility. Why has Europe been so slow in recognizing the threat from Russia? I mean, after all, they invaded Crimea in 2014.
Well, it's a very good question. And as I mentioned, we still have lack of urgency, yes? And that's probably we are still dealing with the problems we created ourselves. And the same people are dealing with those problems. And although we have full-scale invasion on Ukraine already 3 years, yes, since the beginning of full-scale invasion, and we in Europe still haven't launched, our defense industries, which is still lagging. But not all nations, of course, in Europe. For example, Baltic states, Scandinavian countries, and Poland, we are actually well forward, in comparison to other countries with our defense budget. But defense budget is only defense budgeting is not enough. We need to demonstrate not only declarations, but also real steps. Which means that we should generate bigger forces. We should maneuver those forces. Yes, I would think I'm surprised we are still planning future of the Baltic defense lines or eastern flank defense. It's okay, planning is okay, but we need to have much stronger posture. We need to demonstrate our resolve by rotating forces, by increasing forces, by doing more exercises. So talking and showing PowerPoints already is not enough. We need to act, and we need to use what we have on our hands right now, but not what we will have in the future. Future is also important, but now war is, as I repeat myself again, that war is now being fight.
So urgent action necessary immediately. Now, the French and the Brits are talking about having boots on the ground in Ukraine. In the rear, of course, not on the front, so to speak. What do you think of that? You talk about an aggressive posture from Europe. Would you consider that an aggressive posture and an appropriate response?
Well, NATO countries already had many chances to help Ukraine, but I'm not talking about military assistance. Even humanitarian assistance was we didn't provide humanitarian corridors for movement of civil populations. To mention the catastrophe when dam was exploded, and it was humanitarian disaster in that region, and we had a chance to move our support, to move our troops, to help them there. So, and those troops will not be declared as aggressive or whatever. It's only humanitarian assistance. So I think we should stop talking, and we should start acting, yes. And instead of promising, we should show that we sent, and after that we should talk about what we did, but not in advance. So I think but those discussions, I would be happy if they were 10 years ago, for example. But now we should act already. It's too late talking.
Understood. Well, of course, the Ukrainian military has been acting, and we see a number of innovative uses, for example, of drones by Ukraine. You mentioned earlier that the Ukrainians need to be at the table in discussions about the military strategy going forward. What do you think the Ukrainians have to offer that's so valuable to NATO right now?
Well, first of all, if we invite Ukrainian side into the planning, yes, definitely we will offer the most, needed resource is a sense of urgency. Yes, we should listen them. Sense of urgency is really what we really lack. We have resources, we have other resources, but we don't have enough will and understanding about the importance of this time, because what is happening right now and our decisions will reflect to our future, and our future will depend on our decisions, what we do today. And of course, Ukrainians they have very powerful armed forces. They really did huge progress in the defense industry. To mention, drone capabilities. They are using high technologies, and for example, I know they have capacity to produce over 3 million drones per year, and those drones are doing huge difference, and they are shaping future of the new modern battle space. So that the Europe must learn, the Europe must adopt, and the Europe must listen to Ukraine, and Ukraine can tell what is needed right now, not what is needed tomorrow. 2 million ammunition next year is not so good as 20,000 this month. So that's our mindset should be like this. We should act now and think what is needed now, because Russia is at war, Ukraine is defending itself, and we also are attacked. I'm talking about Europe via hybrid attacks and so on.
Understood. Now, Colonel, in the last minute or so that we have left, I'd like to ask you about NATO's strategy and posture. Mark Rutte, of course, Secretary General, has been quite bullish in his speeches about the Russian threat. How would you assess NATO's response to the war in Ukraine? And of course, that includes Turkey, which is a NATO member.
Well, I think now, yes, the strategy has shifted, and understanding, and NATO is pushing towards higher budgeting. Yes, and I think it's very good. But countries should listen, and they should increase their budgets.
Yes.
And of course, I think we should also reconsider probably rapid reaction forces, which General Kovali has under NATO. Yes, and also I think NATO should also consider that coalition is willing right. Is also should be supported by NATO.
Understood. Unfortunately, Colonel, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for sharing your analysis with our audience. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And that's all from us in this episode of World Talks. Lots more coming up, though. Don't go away. Bye.